Welcome to the Le Mans 24-hour or test drive Le Mans if you're in North America. This is the PS2 version, released in 2001 by Melbourne House and Infogrames, and well, I've never played it before. And it turns out there is a Petit Le Mans race in it, so I thought, what better way to celebrate the annual Petit Le Mans by going back in time and playing it on an old PS2 game. So let's have a look. So with GT Racing, we've got the Viper, 993 GT2, and the Callaway Corvette. So I'm not entirely sure that raced at Petit. And then in the open cockpit, we've got an LMP. Was that the Ferrari or Lola? And then Riley and Scott and the Kramer Racing. And then we've got the McLaren, Panos, and Audi R8C. Which again, I'm not entirely sure that's a car that raced at Petit, but sort of a bit of a Gran Turismo vibe, a bit of everything. And why not? This sort of era of racing had quite a lot of racing cars that kind of just missed each other. So we shall go with the Panos. I think we're just going to go qualify and just see what happens. Yeah, already sort of a Gran Turismo vibe of all the best cars. Because say you had the Toyota GT1 that never really raced, the Bentley in 2003, or the Nissan and the Audi, and say the Panos and GT1 cars and the McLaren and even the Lotuses back in '97. So let's see. Okay, so we've got a bit of rain. Now I've got nothing to compare this to. Oh, we've got gears as well. Okay, yeah. So whether, because it's rainy, is that going to affect my grip? Oh, that's the first chicane. That wasn't really a chicane, but okay. Now already I'm getting the sort of vibe from like Need for Speed Carbon, sort of the dark and the rain. And it sort of feels like the Sega Outrun games as well. Oh, we've got a bit of oversteer if I'm too eager on the acceleration. So we've got a pole time of 1:06.3. Now off the top of my head, I'm not entirely sure if that's a realistic time or not for was it a McLaren, I think? Again, whether the McLaren's actually raced to or not. Because the Panos definitely raced against the McLarens in the oh, we've got a bit of air there. That definitely feels arcadey. That was good. I'll bear that in mind for next time. Yeah, the McLarens raced the Panos in the FIA GT Championship. Oh, a bit of oversteer. Okay, so maybe the rain does affect a bit of physics. And I don't really know what tyres I'm on. I'm pretty sure you can change tyres. Oh, we forgot to brake on that one. Yes, whether the rain affects the physics or not, I don't know. But this game was rather well received actually. Although you got to work out which one you have, because it was first developed in 1999 by Infogrames and Eurotechnics. So they did a PlayStation version and a PC version. And then Valors did a Game Boy Color version, which was, they were all based on the 1998 race with some 1999 cars in it. And then the following year, it was the PlayStation 1 version was supposed to be ported, but I think they ended up just redeveloping it from the ground up. And that was Infogrames and Melbourne House that did that, and they did the Dreamcast version, which was, I think it was considered one of the best racing games on Dreamcast. But then, if you cast your mind back, how many racing games were there on the Dreamcast? I think there were a few, but I think already I can see why this was quite popular. and that was in 2000. And then they ported the Dreamcast version, the PlayStation 2 version, which is what we've got now, in 2001, which has some 2000 cars, 1999 cars, and I think it also has some like Group C cars as like a special event. I'm not entirely sure I know how to unlock that, but I'll have a look at that one day. And then Taurus then ported the PlayStation 2 version and made a PC version in 2002, which then again I think had then some 2001 cars, 2000 cars, 1999 cars, and so on. So there's quite a few versions, and they're all a little bit different. So we are on the PlayStation 2 version from 2001. Which was quite well received. I think we're going to call it a day there for qualifying. Wasn't anywhere really near the 106 we needed to do, but we'll see what that does. Yes, the PS2 version got a 76% rating overall, which is pretty impressive, I think. We're not on the leaderboard there. We're still not on it. Okay, we're the last of what you'd call the GT1 LMP class of car. That's fine, we can work our way through, hopefully. But yeah, then the PS2 one was pretty popular. The original PlayStation 1 version got a 70%, which again, I think that's a pretty good result. The PC version didn't do that well. I just don't think it was, trying to port something from PlayStation to PC back then. But the Dreamcast version was one of the highest rated games. It had a 90% game ranking, so I'd say that's pretty good. Right, here we go, at the start of the Petit Le Mans. Not entirely sure what year. I can see some Nissans there that I know that didn't race here. But again, that's sort of like a Gran Turismo, they had the best. You had the Audi, Bentleys, even the Group C Nissans, and so why not, I say. Right, we've got a couple of places there to what would be the first chicane. And again, now it's because it's nice and sunny and clear, definitely getting an outrun vibe out of this. I can tell this is going to be fun actually already. So it's just a nice, easy, even though I'm trying to get used to the PS2 controllers again, it's just a nice, I don't know, well, you can probably put quite a bit of thought into it. So we've got a couple of views there, you've got near, far, bumper and bonnet, or hood. As we're on the slipstream of the McLaren, these ones were raced in the FIA GT Championship, which I don't think came to Roadland. I know they went to Laguna Seca. Oh, it's got massive air there into the side of the beamer. We've got the Audi R8R there, which is the open cockpit one. The R8C is the closed cockpit one. What Audi are still trying to work out where the endurance racing world was going to go in direction-wise. Were they going to go continue with GT1 or they were going to go LMP? And it turned out it was going to be LMP. And then they had that very successful endurance racing program starting from them, basically. But yeah, this is a real nice mixture of arcade and simulation. You've got the fuel. I think I did read somewhere about the changing weather. It doesn't affect the physics as much as it should. But then you have tyre choices. I think even something about having to refill oil after a while. And then choosing how long the endurance races are. I think this is just like an arcade mode, as I'm aware. You just jump straight in and do like a race weekend. Which again, I think is great. There's also a career mode as well, which I think I'd like to have a look at. And if you'd like to see me do a video on, then please let me know. I'm side by side for the first corner. I'm going to try and get the Audi, but not quite. Yeah, you could probably take it. You could treat it like a simulator and still get a good race out of it. But then you can also treat it as an arcade, and again, you can just sort of race around and not really have to think about much. As we go against our predecessor, the Roadster. We're up into 4th place already, which is pretty good. We're doing much quicker lap times than we did when it was wet. We're about a second off, so yeah, there's not. You'd think there'd be a little bit more time off for it being wet than a second, but I think something's better than nothing. So make our way over the jump again. And we're getting another lap. Just letting the game play there for a lap. I think it offers above average graphics for the time. The controls feel good, and the AI are pretty intelligent, I'd say. Again, you're talking about 2001. You know, they can take each other off, and it looks like they can make mistakes, so yeah, and we've got a day-night cycle. It's becoming sunset. Obviously we've got a massive firewall in the sky over there. I think the visuals are okay. I think there are some texture rendering problems, but again, what games didn't have that back in 2001? It's not as polished as like a Gran Turismo, but you know, that's a major developer. I'm not saying that Infogrames isn't, but I think they just had more resources behind them for Gran Turismo when they do this. And the fact that it's, you know, when was the last Le Mans game before this? You're talking, was it the WEC Le Mans? Or I think it was just WEC, which was sort of 80s, wasn't it? And then it was sort of arcade games then. And we've got a bit of rain coming down as well. It's getting very dark. That's first place up ahead of us. But yeah, I think if you're a fan of Le Mans, besides Gran Turismo, there wasn't really a choice at the time. I mean, later on you'd get Forza would come onto the scene with cars, and Gran Turismo would expand their roster of cars, especially for Gran Turismo 4. But I don't know whether you can get a steering wheel to work with this on the PS2. I've got my G27, I don't know if I could give that a go. As we go on to lap 7, side by side with the V12 NMR. Ooh, as we go a little bit eager on the power, and you say there's oversteer, so there's definitely a little of understeer on the braking. You can definitely send it way deep and still be able to recover it. But yeah, just be a little bit careful on throttle application in the wet. You know, that's I'd say it's pretty good for the time. But I've realised I don't really know how to win these races. I sort of mentally prepare what I'm going to say, but I don't know how long I prepare that out for. We're on lap 7. We started at 12:30 local time, I presume, and it's coming up to, it's 8:30. So we're looking at 10:30 is the cut-off. That would be 10 hours. I don't know what 1,000 kilometres would be. Well, it wouldn't be 9 laps, would it? Or maybe 10 laps if they divide it by however much. 100, I suppose. But yeah, I can see myself playing this a lot, actually. I don't think I'm going to get tired of it. I mean, I said there's a career mode, and I think I'd like to give that a go. This is just very nice. You know, you can play it as a simulation, or you can play it as an arcade game. It is a load of fun, so if you can pick up a copy, I picked this copy up at a retro games market not too far from where I live. And I just never really noticed there was a Le Mans game. Obviously you got Le Mans Ultimate out now, and suddenly all my stuff's based on the Assetto Corsa. And then before that, you are literally looking at Gran Turismo, Forza, and this. I don't know whether I'd play the Game Boy Color version. No, I don't see how that could. I don't think I've got the eyesight for it anymore, to be honest. Alright, with the beamer right behind us, I'm coming up to 10:30, so in a couple of seconds time, is it going to say final lap? It is, right, okay, so I don't know how long this race has been, about 15 minutes or so? I think it's a pretty good length of time. I'm trying to think back to the Gran Turismo 4 races, you're probably looking at about that. Only 10-15 minutes for a race. And that's how I think once you do a career mode, you can look at doing, change the length of the races and whatnot. I think I did see some people say you can do 24 hours. I don't really know how that works. I guess like Gran Turismo, you can hire a driver and fast forward the time for however much. Well, there we go, our first race, our first win. Now I wonder if we get to win or get to unlock anything for this. So now there are some cars that are locked, so I take it that if you win certain races, that's how you unlock them, I suppose. But no, that was a load of fun. I really enjoyed that. That was a nice surprise, actually, because you can play these sort of old racing games and you can make fun of them but really, if I play that back in back when I was playing on my PS2, I think I would have played the hell out of it, honestly. There we go. We are first head of the Beamer, Nissan, Audi, and I assume that's the McLaren in 5th. Yeah, the PlayStation 2 version, I think it was nominated in 2001 for the best console driving game, but I think it lost to Grand Theft Auto 3. Right, we've got a Chrysler Viper, Team Orica, winning cars, and the third one, as well as C5R, and another Viper. Well, and then we have it. That was Le Mans 24 hour, or Test Drive Le Mans if you're in North America. I had a blast. That was really fun. Obviously you can see here some of the Group C, and you've got the Mercedes GT1 in there, and all sorts. So there's definitely a lot more to this game. I would very much like to play more of this. If you'd like to see me play more of this, then please let me know in the comments. do like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.